Okay, we're going to show you how to replace a CV axle on a 2006 Buick Rendezvous. This one happens to be front wheel drive. Step one, as you can see, I've turned the wheel out. I'm doing the right hand side here, or the passenger side. Step one, you're going to remove the cotter pin. So the cotter pin was right in here. I pulled that out, push that aside. Next thing you do, you're going to use an 18mm wrench and you're going to loosen the nut holding the ball joint in. Once you've got it loose enough, you're going to remove the rest by hand. So now we've got the ball joint there, nut is off, cotter pin's off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to hammer it right here to dislocate the ball joint from the knuckle. Now, we're going to hammer the knuckle right here so that we can dislodge the ball joint from the knuckle. Alright, so after giving it 4 or 5 good whacks with a hammer, what I did was put a pry bar in here. Be careful not to damage the ball joint, and you can see this nail comes out. Next step is we're going to disconnect the sway bar end links over here. That way we can drop the control arm further down. Okay, we're going to remove the end link now. I've got an impact gun here. Okay, top nut off. I'm going to push the bolt through. Good idea, keep this all together. That way when you put it back together, you know exactly how everything goes. Now we're going to be able to drop this control arm further. What we're going to do here is we're going to remove this axle nut. This is a 35mm socket. This needs to be torqued to 192 foot-pounds when you put it back on. All right, last thing of this assembly, we're going to take off this brake caliper assembly. All right, so we've got some wire here. We're going to put our caliper on that once we remove it. I'm going to remove the entire caliper with the bracket. Okay, caliper is removed. We're going to slide it off the rotor, and we're going to hang it from our metal. Okay, that's safely hanging now from there. As you can see, the CV axle is already sliding out. All right, we're going to slide the CV axle out of the hub now. I've turned the wheel to make it a little bit easier. There we go. And I didn't even need to remove the tie rod end. I didn't even have to remove that. Okay, so next up, we're going to use the tool that I made to remove CV axles. It's in another video, and I'm going to show you how I use the tool to remove the CV axle from here. Okay, the link will be in the description, but this is the tool we previously showed on how to make your own CV axle remover. So basically what we do is we slide this up inside over the cover. Put a little bit more light on here. Whoops. So we're going to slide this onto the back. As you can see, that's already in place. Now that we got that on there, we're going to put a piece of wood here, and with the hammer we're going to knock this out. There we go, it's out. That's how well that tool works. CV axle has been popped out already. Now all we have to do, okay, we're going to pull the axle now out. There we go. As I said earlier, you are going to get some fluid come out. Should be less than about 1 liter. Now we can remove the old CV axle and we're ready to install our new one. It's that easy. Here I have my new CV axle. I just have it in position here. I'm putting it in as quick as I can so I don't lose too much fluid. Once you have it in this far, it's still not fully in. You've got to make sure it actually goes fully in. Sometimes you have to turn it a bit. to get it to seat. All right, if you look at the back spacing here, right behind where the CV axle goes into the differential, you're gonna notice there's very little space here, maybe about 1 inch at the most. That tells me it's fully seated. What you can do is give it a good yank. It should not come out by hand, okay? And that's how you know it's fully seated. Also, it shouldn't be leaking either. All right, so what we've done, we've put our axle nut on, just loosely, okay? We've only tightened it up a little bit. Back here, we have our ball joint. The ball joint is back in the knuckle. You can see it right there. Okay, so this is now ready to be tightened up. And what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna put the nut on here. We're gonna tighten this up. And then we'll tighten up the axle nut. And we'll put our brakes back on, the caliper here with the bracket. And we're good to go. So that's how you replace the CV axle on a Buick Rendezvous.